3, 2, 1. Welcome to Bellwether. Thank you for being here today. Today on this episode 105, I think. 105. Yes, 105. Today we're going to talk about believability. Believability, I want to cover it, what it is, why it's important. I'm going to tell you that believability is one of those skills that is not developed, but is going to need to be in the new economy. I had a client who was very big on believability, dove in deep into believability. How do you actually become believable as a human being? And he wanted it more for the people who are speaking up in the organization. How do you just build this credibility? But credibility is one aspect of it, but it's not all of it. We're going to talk about all these, authority and influence and credibility and all of these types of things that fall around to it. But the ability to be believable as an individual is becoming more and more important as we look to become valid members of the executive suite and bring real value to organizations. So if we think about broader, you'll hear me talk all the time on this podcast about what are the skills for the new economy, right? This isn't 1990s PowerPoint presentation crap. What is the stuff that you actually should be focusing on, that they're not teaching you at work, they're not investing on you in work? These are the things that are actually valid and different things to get you to think about your capability, your influence, your credibility, your reputation, whatever it is, in a different type of way. And believability is one of them. I've talked before about self-efficacy. That's a huge one. And there's more and more and more ability to communicate, et cetera, et cetera. This falls under that kind of category. So I want to talk to you about believability. How to become believable, and what does believability actually mean? And I want to, right at the front, say this is not about making a fact more believable, okay? Or a story more believable, or your belief more believable, because that's not you. It's about making you more believable as an individual. And part of that, obviously, is there's going to have to be an accuracy aspect. You can't just kind of make crap up in order to just be believable, because then it will eventually blow up in your face. But how do we make you believable as you sit around the senior leadership table where people are saying, all right, what that person's saying is valid, right? I don't have to take it, I could just take it as valid. There is this weird conundrum that we have. We have this desire for things like authority and influence. And when we think about our development and our success and where we make it to in terms of our organization and our company and our business, and it's why we want promotions, right? It's this external validation that we're all looking for. But our desire for these things versus what the organization sees, there's a disconnect generally. And this disconnect presents challenges for some people. Okay, so our desire for authority and influence, but whether or not the organization sees it, are two things that need to be married in some kind of way. And so more and more this ability to have influence, and we see this, we think we need the answers for us to have influence. We think we need to go find out all this knowledge and spit back facts and do kind of, it's okay, I'm an authority. I know what this is because I watched a TikTok video and stayed in a Holiday Inn last night. And we think this gives us some kind of influence or authority. And the challenge you have with that is that we're constantly fighting misinformation on all sides, right? No matter who you want to go to. So if you sit and watch a TikTok video from authority, it's wrong, right? And it's constant half information where people take facts, but then it turns into misguided information. And for some, their hearts are in the right place, right? They're really trying really hard and they want to be valid and they want to, they're looking for this influence and they want to do it. Others are just trying to get TikTok views or Instagram views or whatever. But at the end of the day, information is now flying at us faster than we can process, which we know. And one of the things we're going to have to develop is our reputation as a believable and credible individual to help other people's filters as they're filtering information. How do you become the one that they say, you know what, I can ignore this stuff because this individual is giving me trustworthy and accurate information, and I believe that that you are who you say you're going to be. And so that's why it's not about making a fact more believable, because the facts are out there and we can find that. It's about making you more believable as an individual. So in order to do that, we have to elevate our education, and we have to elevate our learning and our interpretation of data, and it needs to evolve with the times. There was this great video I saw on TikTok. But I like the way the guy framed it out, and it was long. It was longer than it should have been for a TikTok video. But basically, his argument was we have information at our fingertips, and it's easier than ever to know facts, right? Facts are everywhere. Pull up your phone, right? When was Tom Petty born? You got it done, right? Whatever. But the development of why they are relevant, these facts, why we need to be aware of them, why whatever. We ignore the context that informs the fact because we're just repeating a fact. And when the context change, it makes the facts inaccurate. And it's a problem with statistics. Whenever somebody starts quoting statistics, I instantly put them into the bullshit mode, like bullshit bucket, because if you're using statistics to defend it, I'm instantly thinking that you're being selective in the information that you're choosing to do or to use. So anyone can repeat facts. What I want you to do as an individual is wisdom goes far beyond just repeating facts, right? We know theory, but not reality. How do we translate these facts or ideas or beliefs or whatever it is into some kind of competence or action or steps to get something done? And when we think about the new economy, providing value, the transactional world of you give someone your time to create something for the business and the business pays you, it's no longer enough to be an idea person. It's no longer enough to just think stuff up. You have to understand the steps in order to get there. And that's where real value comes in. And that's where believability, self-efficacy, these are the things that really go hand in hand. And I see it very often. Maybe I'm overly sensitive to it, especially in the coaching world. These people come out and said, oh, I took classes in leadership, so now I can lead a team. And you say, you're not really a good leader until you actually lead people. You can't be a leadership coach unless you've actually led a team. Right? Because there's a reality to it. How are you going to be a business coach if you've never worked in a business? Okay, so we could talk about the theory all of the time, but we know that reality is a very different puzzle to crack. Believability comes with expertise. And expertise comes from experience. And experience comes from not taking a class or reading a book or watching a TikTok video or anything else. It comes from actually exploring, asking questions, and answering the questions that you could be purely curious about and figuring that out and figuring out your own typical types of solutions. It comes from learning in the moment. It comes from harsh lessons, from making mistakes, owning up to them. A lot of the time I'm working with clients and they want their people to do something different. They want to change behavior. They want to do whatever. And the harshest lessons are the best ones. If you have someone who has to own up to the fact that they made a mistake, they will not make that mistake again. If they have to articulate the mistake that they made, right? Because it's extremely uncomfortable, right? There's consequence for our actions, and our own understanding that we missed the mark is a life lesson. And when we've missed the mark before, suddenly our credibility and believability go significantly up in the future because we've actually experienced whatever the other people are trying to experience. So believability, I mean, when we talk about that, what is it? We talk about credibility is one of those words. Influence, authority, trust is a big one. Reputation is a big one. So all of these words really fill up to do that. And what I would say is, if I could wrap what it is before we talk about how to do it, how to build your believability. we have to create a reputation that we have a desire to find the right solution and not just be right. And there's nuance in that. And that's easier said than done, of course. But we have to have a curiosity mindset where we're asking questions and unwrapping it. And we could talk about all different sides of whatever it is that we're looking to solve. So how do we do this? How do we become more believable? We have to be open to changing our thinking. Okay, which easier said than done, right? And that doesn't really mean anything, but it means something to me. So I'll do that. And I want to give you some notes on beliefs. I've spoken before on belief systems. I did a full episode on belief systems. What do you actually believe? I say it's one of the 3 pillars of your mental health. Mental health, we talk about self-love, right? Loving yourself, self-care, take care of yourself. But then what do you actually believe? And the reason I put that into mental health is because it's part of our self-exploration and understanding, and we don't have to defend things because we understand things at that point. It's this kind of constant curiosity as to what we believe and questioning ourselves. And you go into a lot of rabbit holes, and it's a lot of fun, and it's unnerving. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, and it's really exciting. So we tend to, in life, we just repeat things. We've been told things our entire lives. And the question is, do you actually believe them? And are they just ingrained assumptions that you're operating on and using those and just repeating back, and you can't really defend it? And we find ourselves trying to defend something we don't actually believe. And then all of a sudden your believability is shot because you just start shouting and you get defensive and whatever. When we start to explore why we do or do not believe anything, and this could be anything. It could be as big as, do you believe in God, to what's the best way to parent, to who's the greatest baseball player of all time. It doesn't matter. But when we think about that from what do you actually believe, we learn that in order to truly believe something, we have to fully understand the other side. And when you fully understand the other side, you're having a very different type of conversation, because now you're just curious about why people believe certain things. And it's more about exploring an idea rather than just telling people what's right or wrong. And if you think about the old Stoics and all of that, they never came to solutions. They just, talked about what if and why and all that stuff. So when you're able to speak objectively about your beliefs and objectively express how you've heard the other side, you just have a whole different level of conversation. And that's great. But it goes beyond just what you believe. That's just one step. It's a process of figuring out what you believe, just like becoming believable is a process in figuring out whatever it is you're trying to be an authority on. Okay, repeating facts does not make you an authority. Understanding why those facts exist makes you more believable and makes you more of an authority, and understanding that. So and so that's it. So we want people to trust the process for influence, authority, credibility, whatever it is. Believability, we can elevate our status within the organization by becoming more believable, by having a reputation as a believable individual. And we do that by asking really, really good questions. We do this by elevating the group around us to become more philosophical. By elevating people's thought process, by challenging the way that people think in a really productive way to come to solutions, is a complete game changer in the new economy. Complete game changer. And so, like I said just a minute ago, it's not enough to be an idea person. It might be enough to be a thinker who can elevate the thinking of the group. And rather than just talking about what's possible, we have to talk about how do we do this? And what if we challenge things? And what if we did it in this way? And what are those steps? And what does that look like? And having those types of conversations in both a philosophical and a tangible way, there is real value in that. And as we think about moving up in a development standpoint from an individual contributor to managing a team, to getting to the C-suite where it's very philosophical, enterprise-wide, let's talk about theory. There is this full range of reality and theory that we have to mesh together. And believability is one of those big key components that's going to help you get there. I hope that was helpful. It was quick. It's more just kind of a ramble today. But I've been wanting to talk about believability for a little while, and I'm exploring it myself, and it's something that's helpful, I think. I'm learning a lot, and I hope you learned a lot too. So I would encourage you to think about what makes you believable. And it's not just repeating. It's not just repeating TikTok videos. As much as I love it, and TikTok's a thing, but it's Facebook posts, whatever. Social media is one. Where you get your information is very, very important. And do it and explore and learn, and that's tons of fun. So have fun, be believable, challenge thinking, think about yourself, and do well. And with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and I'll talk to everyone soon. Thanks.